Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Jayom Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajikacharya Stotara Satashi Srimad His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajikacharya Astottara Sadashri Srimad Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Prabhupada Ki Ananta Kodi Vaishnavrinda Ki Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Prem se kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasati Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Ki Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gop Gopinath Shamakunda Radhakunda Giri Govardhan Ki Shri Mathura Vrindavan Dham Ki Shri Navadvip Mayapur Dham Ki Shri Nilachal Jagannath Puri Dham Ki Ganga Maya Yamuna Maya Ki Tulsi Devi Bhakti Devi Ki Sankirtan Yagya Ki Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda Ki Gaur Premanande. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. All glories to Shri Prabhupada. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naranchayvam Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udvirayat Shrinvata Swagata Krishna Punya Shravana Kirtana Vidyantasto Yapatrani Vidunoti Sudutsatam Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shlokir Bhaktir Bhavatu Naishtiki. Hare Krishna. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 20, Text 32. 4:20:32. Maitreya Uvacha Iti Adirajena Nutansa Vishvadrik Iti Adirajena Nutansa Vishvadrik Aham Tarajan Mai Bhakti Rastute Tam Maharajan Mahi Bhakti Rastute Jisyesti dir mahite kritayaya Jistye jisi dir mahite kritayaya Mayam madhyam tarati sma drushyajam Maitreya Uvacha Iti Adirajena Nutasa Vishvadrik Tam Maharajan Mayir Bhakti Astute Jistyesti dir Mayite Kritayaya Mayam Madhyam Tarati Sma Drushyajam Iti Adirajena Nutasa Vishvadrik Tam Maharajan Mayi Bhakti Rastute Jistyesti dir Mayite Kritayaya Mayam Madhyam Tarati Sma Drushyajam Iti Adirajena Nutasa Vishvadrik Tam Maharajan Mayi Bhakti Rastute Dustir Mayi Mayam Madhyam Tarati Sma Drushyajam Iti adirajena nutasa vishvadrik tam maharajan mahi bhaktirastute Triste stidir mahite kritaya Mayam matiyam tarati smadustyajam Maitreya the great sage Uvacha spoke Iti thus Adirajena by the original king Prithu Nutaha being worshipped Saha he the Supreme Personality of Godhead Vishvadrik the seer of the whole universe Tam unto him Aha said Rajan my dear king Mai unto me Bhakti devotional service Astu let it be Te your Jishtya by good fortune Idrishi like this Dihi intelligence Mai unto me Te by you Krita having been performed Yaya by which Mayam illusory energy Madhyam my Tarati crosses over Sma certainly Justyajam very difficult to give up. Translation. The great sage Maitreya continued by saying that the Lord, the seer of the universe, after hearing Prithu Maharaj's prayer, addressed the king. My dear king, may you always be blessed by engaging in my devotional service. Only by such purity of purpose as you yourself very intelligently express can one cross over the insurmountable illusory energy of Maya. Purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada. This is also confirmed in Bhagavad Gita, wherein the Lord also claims that the illusory energy is insurmountable. No one can transcend the illusory energy of Maya by fruitive activity, speculative philosophy, or mystic yoga. The only means for transcending illusory energy is devotional service, as the Lord Himself states, Mam eva ye prapadyante mayam itam tarantite. Bhagavad Gita 7:14. If one wants to cross over the ocean of material existence, there is no alternative than to take to devotional service. A devotee, therefore, should not care for any material position, whether in heaven or in hell. A pure devotee should always engage in the service of the Lord, for that is his real occupation. Simply by sticking to that position, one can overcome the stringent laws of material nature. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Mena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Mano Vishtam Stapitam Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swaparantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Parakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagar Jatam Sahagana Raghunatan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitamscha Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopisha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastate Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishabhanu Sate Devi Panamami Hari Priya Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Devata Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaura Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. the great sage Maitreya continued by saying that the Lord, the seer of the universe, after hearing Prithu Maharaj's prayer, addressed the king. My dear king, may you always be blessed by engaging in my devotional service. Only by such purity of purpose as you yourself very intelligently express can one cross over the insurmountable illusory energy of Maya. Hare Krishna. Thank you for this opportunity of service. As always, before I speak, I ask the blessings of all the assembled Vaishnavas. May I say something that is in line with Srila Prabhupada's teachings and pleasing to the heart of all the devotees. So, we're reading today how Lord Vishnu is blessing Prithu Maharaj, and he has given him the most amazing benediction that may you always be engaged in my devotional service. And in the purport, Prabhupada is speaking about this verse from Bhagavad Gita 7:14. The benefits of always being engaged in the devotional service of the Lord. So, if we just go to that verse, and in the purport, I'll just read a little bit of what Prabhupada is saying. This is the verse where the translation is, "This divine energy of mine, consisting of the three modes of material nature, is difficult to overcome. But those who have surrendered unto me can easily cross beyond it." In the purport, Prabhupada says that another meaning of guna is rope. It is to be understood that the conditioned soul is tightly tied by the ropes of illusion. A man bound by the hands and feet cannot free himself. He must be helped by a person who is unbound. Because the bound cannot help the bound, the rescuer must be liberated. Therefore, only Krishna or his bona fide representative, the spiritual master, can release the conditioned soul. Without such superior help, one cannot be freed from the bondage of material nature. Devotional service or Krishna consciousness can help one gain such release. Krishna, being the Lord of illusory energy, can order this insurmountable energy to release the conditioned soul. He orders this release out of his causeless mercy on the surrendered soul and out of his parental affection for the living entity, who is originally a beloved son of the Lord. Therefore, surrender unto the lotus feet of the Lord is the only means to get free from the clutches of the stringent material energy or nature. The word mam eva is also significant. Mam means unto Krishna only, not Brahma or Shiva. Although Brahma and Shiva are greatly elevated and are almost on the level of Vishnu, it is not possible for such incarnations of Rajaguna or passion and Tamaguna or ignorance to release the conditioned soul from the clutches of Maya. In other words, both Brahma and Shiva are also under the influence of Maya. Only Vishnu is the master of Maya, therefore he alone can give release to the conditioned soul. The Vedas, the Svetasva Para Upanishad 3.8 confirms this in the phrase Tam eva viditva, or freedom is only possible by understanding Krishna. Thought that was very interesting. Freedom is only possible by understanding Krishna. So while I was listening to different devotees speak on this verse, something that came up is that, Prithu Maharaj was trying so hard to perform all of these horse sacrifices, and he did, 99 horse sacrifices, and he was trying so hard for the 100th, but because of Indra it just wasn't working out. So now Lord Vishnu is blessing him that may you just always be engaged in my devotional service. So one thing we can understand from this blessing is that yes, it's okay to perform sacrifice, but what is more pleasing to Krishna is when we manifest sacrifice in our life. When we give our own life and sacrifice through devotional service to Krishna, that's actually what he wants from us, is for us to give our time, our energy, our life as a sacrifice to him. And Lord Vishnu is saying that to Prithu Maharaj that you have very intelligently expressed, that one can only cross over the illusory energy through my mercy. So Vishnu is saying that, yes, this is a very intelligent thing to say. So another thing we can understand is that not everyone can be intellectual, but we can all be intelligent. And there's a distinction between Sri Sri Radha Radhana, Sri Giriraj Govardhan, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. So yes, not everyone has the capacity to be intellectual, but we can all be intelligent. When we say intellectual, then we speak about your processing capacity, your analytical ability, your memory, how good you are at memorizing, repeating, understanding philosophy, that kind of thing. But when we say intelligence is about decision making. Can you decipher what's right from wrong, what's temporary, what's permanent, what's intelligent, what's going to work out in your best interest. Your intelligence relates to the decisions you make in life. And this is something we hear, that when we are not connected to Krishna, when we're not connected to him, we cannot have steady intelligence. Prabhupada says that. Krishna is the factor that keeps our intelligence steady. So we understand that one can develop the highest intelligence possible through the process of devotional service, through the process of bhakti. And Prabhupada says this, that the way to make your intelligence steady is through hearing. When we hear about Krishna, when we read Srimad Bhagavatam, when we engage in devotional service, these are the practical things we do to keep steady intelligence. And why does it start with hearing? Because our hearing forms our consciousness. It's so easy, you overhear a conversation between two people and, that's all you can think about for the rest of the day. So two people are gossiping somewhere and you just happen to overhear and it just rings in your head over and over and over. Or something you overhear and it just disturbs you, So our hearing is very important because the intelligence, as Prabhupada says, is above the mind. The intelligence is supposed to control the mind. So if we don't have steady intelligence, naturally we'll have an unstable mind. And what is Srila Prabhupada speaking about in the purport? That a devotee should always engage in the service of the Lord, for that is his real occupation. So true spiritual intelligence therefore means that we understand our position in life and we make decisions in our life based on that, on what our actual occupation is, right? And Prabhupada says that devotional service is, as he calls, superior engagement. If you want to be engaged in the best thing possible, then just do devotional service. And speaking of intellect and intelligence, this is also why we can say the path of bhakti is so much superior to other paths like jnana marga, like knowledge acquiring and all of these things. When we simply engage in gathering knowledge, in strengthening our analytical ability, all of these kind of things, and when we don't do it with the right mood, what does it do? It creates a sense of superiority over those who don't have that facility or that intellect. Yes, as devotees, we are meant to set an example for others, but when I set an example, it doesn't mean that I'm better than you. That's not what setting an example in Krishna consciousness means. It just means that I'm an example of something higher, something more spiritual. I'm trying to embody something higher, so I'm setting an example in that way. It doesn't mean that I'm better than you, and I'm here to show you my intellect and, sprout out verses through the tips of my nose, that kind of thing. When we say that we're meant to set an example, it means that I should be an example of the potency of devotional service, of Krishna's mercy, of Krishna's energy, that everything in my life, whether it's intellect or otherwise, should actually be a way to increase my understanding of the capacity of Krishna's greatness in life, Because also we we need to understand that, like, same, we have this understanding of humility, lower than a blade of grass, we have this concept. But I feel sometimes we don't completely understand what humility is. Humility is not meant to be psychologically debilitating. It's really not. When we use humility in that way, I don't think it's correct. Humility is meant to cultivate a higher example out of you, like I'm saying. Humility is meant to cultivate the capacity of Krishna's greatness in you. My humility is meant to glorify Krishna's mercy in that, yes, I am not qualified in any way, but look at the glory of my Lord, that he will use me in any way he sees fit, even though I am not fit to do so. That is humility, not that, no, Prabhu, I can't do this, I'm just not worthy, please find, better. No. Yes, I will do the service even though I'm not capable of doing it, because it's an opportunity for me to be engaged in Krishna's service and for me to show the capacity of Krishna's greatness in that way. And that is ultimately Krishna's mercy, and that's why intellect is nice, but it may not get you all the way in Krishna consciousness, because there are some things in devotional life that cannot be explained by logic. Krishna's mercy. I mean, just read any pastime in the Bhagavatam. To any material mind, it would seem illogical. On Monday, Prabhupada was saying in the class, he was speaking about the when Mother Yashoda is looking in Krishna's mouth. She looks in Krishna's mouth, and there's all these universes there, But he is crying for Mother Yashoda, and Prabhupada says, yeah, that is God. In his mouth, there's all these billions of universes, but he's crying for his mother. So, logically, to our material covered mind, we can't understand that with our intellect. So that's why bhakti takes us a little further than that. We need a bit more than intellect. Krishna, Lord Vishnu is saying, you're by this purity of purpose that you have. This is good. Because when we think of intellect, that is in one sense, that's kind of karmic. It's from your previous life, whatever piety you've acquired in this birth, you'll have a certain life, you'll have a certain intelligence, all of this, But true intelligence is your discernment, like we're talking about decision making, to work from an understanding of knowing who you really are and make your decisions based on that, right? So devotional service is that way, to grow your intelligence, to act in a way which aligns with who you really are and what your occupation is in this world. And another thing is that an intelligent person is a consistent person, especially in devotional service, because they know what they have to do. They understand where they're at, what they should be doing, where they want to go. So they act consistently for Krishna. It's not, one day I'll do the service, tomorrow maybe I don't really feel like it. No. Consistently we serve in that way. When their actions match their words, then someone is intelligent. That's something, And in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna speaks a lot about intelligence in many different verses. I give the intelligence by which they can come to me. Krishna gives this intelligence to us through what we do for him, how we approach him, what's the intention by which we come to him. He gives us that kind of intelligence. And Prabhupada even says, I think in a morning walk, that yes, even the asuras, their intelligence that they have, and the capacity they act, it comes from him, different kinds of intelligence, because he sees what's in the heart. And Krishna will respond accordingly. I was listening to Purijan Prabhu was speaking during this Kartik time. He speaks every day, and he was saying, he was just speaking about, the different pastimes that occur in Kartik. So one, yes, is the reappearance of Radhakund, Bahulastami, but he was speaking about, when Arishtasura comes, the bull demon, to fight with Krishna. And Krishna usually, when he when he sees a demon, he kind of has some fun with the demon. He plays around a bit, and then he like shows off for the gopis and the gopas, and then he kills the demon. But Purijan Prabhu says that the acharyas comment that when Krishna saw Arishtasura, he realized that this demon had no love in his heart. So he decided, I won't play with him, I'll just kill him. Because there's nothing in his heart for me. So even the asuras, their intelligence comes from Krishna because that's what's in their heart. And it comes that way. And intelligence ultimately means that we understand the essence of Krishna consciousness and we don't get caught up in all the unnecessary details, which is very easy to do, especially with a mind that is harder to control than the wind in that sense, Our intelligence, our intellect is meant to support our devotion. It's not meant to be a competitor in our devotion in that sense, especially when we're in a position where we have the capacity to grow our knowledge. Don't let it grow your ego in that sense, and it's sometimes easy to get caught up in that. Because ultimately an intelligent person knows that the focus is that Krishna should be pleased at all times. And that's all. Because our devotion, as I'm saying, should make us a good example of the potency of Krishna. That's what it means to be an example for us, an example of Krishna's potency. And we see that, when we set an example, it can be done either in the mood of this is Krishna's mercy or I'm showing off my ego. But Krishna works on the basis of love. That's what bhakti is. That's what devotional service is. Loving service unto the Lord. It's full of emotion. It's full of sentiment. It's full of feeling and intention. And sometimes the intellect, if we focus too much on that, it can't comprehend that. Like I'm saying, if you read the pastimes, it's a little beyond intellect sometimes. That's where faith comes in. If we read in the 10th canto, the pastime where Brahma steals the cows, Brahma Vimohana Lila, the acharyas describe that, Lord Brahma comes and he's watching Krishna and the cowherd boys, and he's observing what's happening. And Krishna and the cowherd boys, they're having lunch. So, when Krishna and the cowherd, they sit together and Krishna will eat from all the cowherd boys. He'll taste something from each one's lunch bag, right? So on this particular day, Madhu Mangal came and he had like some, I can't remember, yogurt or buttermilk, right? But Madhu Mangal is described, he comes from like a poor Brahmana family. So the buttermilk he had, it wasn't the best quality. So he was feeling kind of embarrassed that, he knows Krishna's going to like dig into his lunchbox and it's not going to be the best buttermilk. So he's really embarrassed. So what does he do? And he doesn't want Krishna to taste this because it's not the best thing, So Krishna's asking him, Madhu Mangal, what do you have there? So he freaks out. So he runs away with his buttermilk and he runs behind a tree and he's hiding. And Krishna runs after him. Right? And Krishna's like, what do you have? What do you have? So Madhu Mangal decides to drink all of the buttermilk quickly. So he just gulps everything and he's like, he keeps it in his mouth like. And Krishna's like, what's in your mouth? What do you have? So Krishna just comes and he pats him and it like sprays out. And some of it lands on I think either Krishna's arm or Madhu Mangal's arm. And and licks it up. Krishna like licks it up. And Brahma is watching this and Brahma is thinking, this is God? This is God? But this is Krishna. He works on love, that's the currency. If you want to do business with Krishna, you must trade in love, He's not really impressed by intellect, but by intelligence, Love is not always logical. We have this tendency, we want things to make sense. Everything needs to make sense, but sometimes things don't make sense. And that in itself is Krishna's wonder. That I can't remember, but I was listening to a Chaitanya Charan Prabhu, and he was saying something to the effect that, you know, Krishna is, you know, he has the capacity to unlimitedly manifest himself. So the pure devotee does know Krishna, but because Krishna can, you know, there's no limit to his capacity, the devotee will know Krishna more and more and more. There's no limit to how much a devotee can know Krishna, you know. And we know that Srila Prabhupada says, you know, that religion without philosophy is sentiment, and philosophy without religion is mental speculation. So we need the philosophy, but we need the love as well, you know. So many verses in the Bhagavad Gita glorify devotional service. That's the way we practically grow our love, is through devotional service. The 10th chapter of the Gita. Let me just grab that quickly. The 8th verse, 10:8, right? I am the source of all spiritual and material worlds, and everything emanates from me. The wise who perfectly know this engage in my devotional service and worship me with all their hearts. That's just one example, right, of the many, many verses. So we all belong to Krishna, right? He's the proprietor of the material and spiritual worlds. Everything emanates from him, as he is saying. And the second part, you know, the wise who know this engage in my devotional service, and they worship me with all of their hearts, you know. And like that verse Prabhupada is saying, that it is through surrender that we cross over the insurmountable ocean. Insurmountable means it cannot be crossed. There's like no end to it. But even something that has no end can come to an end because of Krishna in that way. If you think, for an example, of like your own body, right? Your own body, you could see it as like for example, a small universe, you know, that's happening in your body, right? And within your body, you know, if 1 or 2 cells are not healthy, there's so much discomfort. You know, just 1 or 2, you know, like a little tickle in your throat is like the end of the world sometimes, you know. So we are part of Krishna, you know. We are part of him. And when we don't act in our nature, things will always be out of balance in that way. We all have our role to play. We all have our purpose to play. And devotional service shows us, or is the platform by which we can find our purpose in devotional life. And also, why do we perform devotional service? Out of gratitude for the realization of what we have, you know. We must show our gratitude to Krishna for everything. So devotional service is a practical way by which we show Krishna this gratitude. It's like the example is given, Prabhupada is even speaking in today's purport that, you know, Krishna cares for us, and he has this, I think it's the Bhagavad Gita verse, or the parental affection is there, because we are the children of God in that sense. So Krishna has this natural parental affection for us, right? And, you know, like when a mother is feeding the baby, you know, they're sitting together and the mom is feeding, and sometimes you see this, you know, people, they post these videos, the baby in their love, they take their own food and they feed the mother, you know, and the mother is so moved and so touched, and, you know, the joy that the mother gets from that. So that is devotional service when we offer. That, you could say, is the joy Krishna gets when we give back, you know. I was listening yesterday to the Prabhupada, you know, glorification, and I was listening online to Alachua, and it was Govardhan Prabhu actually. In the video, he was saying that, you know, how can you thank Prabhupada? It's like offering a lamp to the sun. You know, and similarly with Krishna. Krishna has everything. What does Krishna need? It's like, you know, it's like offering a lamp to the sun, but still we do it, because how else will we show? And Krishna will still get joy from that, right? You know, the Lord's feet has all of these markings on it, and they all mean different things. So on Srimati Radharani's feet, there's a marking of a sacrificial altar, of a yagya altar, and they say that each mark symbolizes something, and that altar signifies that when we should offer our mind in sacrifice to the Lord. our mind, our body, everything we should offer in sacrifice. Like I was saying, don't just, it's nice to perform sacrifice, but when you offer yourself in sacrifice, Krishna is very pleased. And that mark is like when we offer ourselves in sacrifice, then everything, the whole universe is nourished. Why? Because we're acting in accordance to our purpose, right? And yes, we engage in devotional service, which is natural and things, but it's also important then to do the needful, practically speaking, in devotional service, right? We don't just take the easy road and do the nice service that we like and things like that. We challenge ourselves a little bit, right? Prabhupada says in the second canto that an easy life and the attainment to transcendental realization cannot go together. You can't have both. You can't have an easy life and you can't attain transcendental realization. There has to be some endeavor in it, right? And that's what Kartik is about, right? The 2 fingers too short. Krishna's mercy is always there, but the endeavor must also be there to get that mercy. So that is what devotional service is. That yes, Krishna, I have many shortfalls, but let me serve you anyway to the best of my ability, and I have faith that you will carry me through your mercy. Mahatma Prabhu was speaking yesterday on Srila Prabhupada, and he was saying, Srila Prabhupada, I'm sorry, but this is what you got. You got what you got, but I'll still do my best, even though it's not perfect. But the point of devotional service is not to be perfect. It's to engage everything we have with the best that we can. So this blessing that Vishnu is giving, that may you always be engaged in devotional service, this is the best blessing that anyone can possibly get. The greatest blessing. And we read very often how this blessing is even higher than liberation. It's higher than that. This Prabhupada disciple, everyone calls him Bhavananda. So he was saying in one Prabhupada memory, in the Prabhupada memories, where Prabhupada, everyone called him Bhavananda, and yes, your name means, you get like Ananda, unlimited bliss, and Bhava, someone who's always in this unlimited bliss. And Prabhupada said, no, your name is not Bhavananda, it's Bhavananda. That you are that one who, or that devotee, who gets unlimited bliss in being in the material world because it offers an endless opportunity of service. And that's something my Guru Maharaj also speaks about in his, I remember one Vyasa Puja offering, he said that, I'm not interested in going back to Godhead. I want to stay in the material world because here I will always be able to do service for you, Srila Prabhupada. I was like, okay, so I guess then that is my wish as well as a disciple. Yes, so the devotee, liberation is not important for a devotee. As Prabhupada is saying again in the purport, a devotee does not care for material position whether in heaven or in hell because it doesn't matter. Because devotional service can be performed anywhere. There's no hard and fast rules for chanting these names, as we say. There's no hard and fast rules for performing devotional service. All you need is the intention to perform devotional service, the desire, right? We know the story of the Brahmana who's traveling, right? And he gives blessings to different people. Like he meets a prince and he says, I bless you till you live for a long time. Then he meets a brahmachari, says, I bless you that you die immediately. He meets a butcher and he says, don't die, don't live, right? And then he meets a devotee, he says, you die or you live, there's no difference, right? Why does he bless the prince in that way, that you live for a long time? Because when he dies, eventually he'll have to accept the results of all his karma that's coming. So, live for a long time and then, later on. The brahmachari, he's performed so much of penance that a wonderful afterlife is waiting for him. So die immediately and reap the rewards of that. The butcher, while you're living in so much sin, when you die, what's going to happen to you? So don't live, don't die. And the devotee, you are eternally liberated anyway due to your devotional service, so it doesn't matter where you are. Live or you die. A Vaishnav, as we heard yesterday, a Vaishnav dies to live, and in living tries to spread the holy name around. It doesn't matter for a Vaishnav. On a morning walk, Prabhupada was walking on the beach and he was watching these tiny crabs. They were like coming out and going in, and they would scatter into the ocean when the devotees would come close. So Prabhupada is asking the devotees with him, why are they running into the ocean whenever we come? And the devotees are like, oh no, they're communicating, the intellect, so, some biologically this is what they're supposed to do. And Prabhupada says, no, they run into the ocean because they know they'll be safe there. They know that they'll be protected in the ocean. So we are like that. When we perform devotional service, we are safe with Krishna. And we read the previous verse. This is Prithu Maharaj's prayer, right? Is that do not ask me for, to take any material benefit. I don't want anything. But as a father, not waiting, does everything for the benefit of the son. Bestow upon me whatever you think is best for me. Prithu Maharaj is praying that, and this is the prayer of the devotee, that I put myself in your hands, Krishna. I know you'll take care of me. I will always remember you, and you do what's best for me because I trust you. And this is why we perform devotional service, because we know this is where I will be safe with you. In a morning walk in Hamburg, Prabhupada is speaking. Oh no, sorry, I think it's a morning lecture. And Prabhupada is saying that, human civilization is trying to solve problems. Everything we see, every single thing, is to solve a problem. The chair we're sitting on is so we don't sit on the floor. The car you drive is so you don't walk. The mic is so everyone can hear me. Everything in material civilization is to solve a problem. The shopping mall is there so I don't have to grow my own food. Everything. And Prabhupada says, we're coming up with solutions for everything. Everything around us is trying to solve some problem. But the ultimate problem is that I don't want to suffer. I want a comfortable, peaceful life. But this is not possible in the material world. The material nature is offering problems after problems after problems. And that is the material nature's business, to offer problems. You solve one problem and she'll present another problem. And Prabhupada says that the solution is Bhagavad Gita 7:14, which is the verse that Prabhupada is speaking about. That this insurmountable energy can be crossed through surrender unto Krishna. The solution is surrender. So ultimately our intelligence is when we use the choices we have to choose Krishna. And this is my final point, and I'm just running out of time. But we just celebrated Govardhan Puja on Saturday, and we hear the pastime, and Maharaj presents it so wonderfully. And Maharaj says, when the hill, Govardhan is asking for more aniyo, and there's nothing left, and Balaram takes the tulsi leaf and puts it on the hill. And the description he says that the acharyas give, that Balaram is the crest jewel of intelligence. So I was hearing this and I was like, wow, why that? Yes, the strength of all of that. Why the crest jewel of intelligence? And I was thinking about it. And then, listening as well. And I realized, yes, it's because Balaram's entire being is embodied. Why does it embody the ultimate intelligence? It's because he exists for the service of Krishna in every single manifestation. He's just there. He fulfills whatever need Krishna has. He is that. Everything we know, everything used in the service of Krishna, all the paraphernalia is an expansion of Balaram. The arati tray, the clothes, the musical instruments, the mridanga, the kartals, everything used in the service of Krishna is an expansion of Balaram. He becomes whatever Krishna needs to serve him, right? Ananta Shesh, Lord Vishnu is lying on him, the bed of the Lord, the cups of the Lord, the shoes of the deities, whatever. So we should embody that mood. We should pray to Balaram then, to embody that. Krishna, whatever you need, I will become that. Jiva Goswami says there is practically nothing which Lord Balaram is not in Krishna's service. And this is why he is Adi Guru. This is why he can teach us how to be good servants, good disciples, right? He is always looking for a way to serve Krishna. And we can get the strength through the mercy, through engaging and praying in this way. Even he's the first expansion of Vishnu. But even in that, he's like the closest there is. He's practically God, But even in that expansion, he says, no, I'm a servant. Krishna is God. So we all have a purpose in our life, materially and spiritually, and let us find that purpose through devotional service. I will stop there. Any corrections, comments? No? Okay. Krantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Gaura Premanande.